Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Vakil. The benchmarks have snapped a two-day gaining streak with the Nifty coming off, just a mark below 12,000. And currently we have 30-point decline as far as benchmarks are concerned, Nifty specifically. But among the gainers, we do have Z Entertainment, which has climbed as much as 12%. This is, of course, following the news that the promoters will sell another 15%, but I'm going to get in Yatin Mota just a bit to talk to us about that as well and the reason behind the strength in Z Entertainment. That said, we have Aisha Motors, Dr. Reddy's, along with Adani Ports all advancing in trade, but we don't have too much to go for otherwise in terms of gainers. On terms of the losing end, we do have Coal India, BPCL, along with something like a Tata Steel, Yes Bank and Bharti Airtel, all of them, some reasonably heavyweights bearing down on the indices. And the picture is not any different for the broader markets. For the trend that we saw in the broader markets on the NSE 500 over the past couple of days was the advance decline ratio was largely even between, that was 1:1, but today that has changed from one gainer versus two losers. You do have gains in UCO Bank, RB Infra, Aditya Birla Capital is making a good up move here as well. You have gains in something like a GIC along with Jagran Prakashan for the second straight day, showing a lot of strength. On the other hand, on the losing end, Gayatri Projects locked in a lower circuit of 20%. We have Kaplan Point. ITDC is declined by as much as 10% after showing a lot of strength over the past few days. Motherson Sumi down by 8%. Currently at 122. Kaveri Seed Company, Hindustan Copper, all of them declining in trade. So this is how the markets have panned out, and again we are keeping an eye a lot of uncertainty. But let's talk about the stock of the day, Z Entertainment, and I am going to get in Yatin Mota to give us an update on what happened yesterday, and of course has resulted in the kind of up move that we saw yesterday. Yatin.
Agam, starting with the yesterday's announcement on stock exchanges, the SL Group did inform that they are intending to sell 16.5% shares in Z Entertainment to institutional investors and retain a 5%. So basically, post the 16.5% sale in Z in terms of equity stake, the promoters are left with 5%, through which they will be continuing as the management. More importantly, we also got the information that the book for the block deal was open today morning. We had a block deal of over 14.25 crore shares at a price of 305 rupees per share, and post that transaction which happened in the block window pre-market, we saw the shares surge as much as 15% plus in trade. So clearly the brokerages, if you look at it, Morgan Stanley did upgrade it to an equal weight. We also had CLSA which increased the target price. Now brokerages do believe that the valuation of the stock is quite attractive, and more importantly the hangover of the pledge share sale and the pressure because of that sale is now over, and from here on in terms of the valuation development as well as some kind of a takeover is something that the markets will be watching out very, very keenly. Remember, in the first tranche to Oppenheimer, when the promoters sold their shares to Oppenheimer, the deal happened at 400 rupees per share, and in the very near term, in a couple of months, now the promoters have sold their 16% odd stake at a price of 305. Clearly, the markets are now making Z trade in between those valuation zones.
Absolutely, fair enough, Yatin. Thank you so much for getting us those details on Z Entertainment, up as much as 12%. But let's also talk about Network 18. That stock also advanced by as much as 8% today, and it is trending at just shy of the 28 rupees per share mark. Now the news here is, and this is a Bloomberg exclusive, where we understand is that Sony Corporation, that is Japan-based Sony Corporation, is in talks with Network 18, that is owned partly by Mukesh Ambani, and they are looking to buy stake in the company. Currently, they are in talks to buy stake, and they're also, from what we understand, is carrying out due diligence in terms of various deal structures that could be in place. Now, there is there's all sorts of consideration, which includes acquisition as well as some sort of a merger, but we do not have complete details. We also know that there is no confirmation, of course, on any sort of deal that goes through, and it may very well fall off, and they may call it off as well. But for now, because of the fact that there has been news of the fact that they're in talks, to buy some stake in Network 18 is the reason why we've seen strength coming through, and we'll be keeping an eye on more updates on the same, and this is a developing story. So this is among many others that we are watching out for in trade. Besides that, we're also keeping an eye on, the government has already announced divestment plans, besides the fact that the One Housing Finance is also advanced after its top management has been superseded. We'll be watching out for several other factors that come into play in markets like these. On that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but there's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint.